Hey everyone and welcome. In this video we look at a total hate monger, Piers Moron, and his absolutely disgraceful interview with Trump's lawyer, Rudy Giuliani.
And I do believe that we have rotten politics, and I'm not using that as an exaggeration. I now have lost all confidence in either of the two main parties. I never had any confidence in the third.
Now, I will say it was disgraceful, but it is hilarious at the same time. And it's down to Piers' aggressive interviews. It's backfired gloriously with this man. Makes him look like the loser he is. It's titled, Piers Moron in furious row with Trump lawyer Rudy Giuliani. If I've got that wrong, Rudy, I do apologise. Failed journalist effed up. Piers Moron furiously clashed with Donald Trump's lawyer, Rudy. I'll just call him Rudy because I don't want to keep smashing his name. On ITV, Good Morning Britain over the US president's use of inflammatory language on Twitter in response to the George Floyd protest in America. Pot calling, Piers. Now we all know Piers attacks immediately on every interview now and proves that he is the #1 primo Karen that resides on the planet. Let's watch the crop clip the MSM are putting out, shall we?
And you should be big enough to admit he should never have said it. That's the problem. You're so wound up with supporting Trump, you can't see the wood for the trees.
Misinterpreted him. You misinterpreted him on purpose to create.
I quoted him from his own tweet. What are you talking about?
Well, the question is, did he know that came from some racist 30 years ago? Well, he didn't know that.
I don't care if he knew it or not.
The only reason you don't accept that.
I don't care if he knew it or not. Why the hell was he using such inflammatory language?
It isn't inflammatory. It's accurate.
When the
You're telling protesters you're going to shoot them.
It is an accurate warning. And
right.
It actually happened. People have been killed by the looters, including an innocent man last night who was guarding his friend's store, who was African American, and his life matters too.
Now, if you're not sure what Rudy was talking about there, he's talking about media's framing of the story to fit the narrative. I've highlighted that in the past about the journalists. As you can see, Piers is combative immediately and doesn't give Rudy a chance to answer before attacking again. Just a quick question. Who uses inflammatory language on Twitter? Piers? Yeah? Hypocrite. Short clip as well, wasn't it? Let's watch what happened after, shall we? And this is where it gets really fun.
Rudy, I'm sorry, but
the interview is over as far as I'm concerned.
You sound completely barking mad. Do you know that?
No, I don't.
You've lost the plot.
Like a big
You've
liar.
lost the plot, and it's sad to see.
You're the one who got thrown off of television here.
Yeah.
You had ratings that were about 2.
Yeah.
So don't tell me I've lost anything.
You keep going, Rudy.
I know what happened to your show, Piers.
Yeah.
And I remember the mistakes you made.
I
remember how you sucked up.
Yeah, well, I remember.
So don't give me that stuff. I know who you are.
Well, we'd like to apologise.
You can say anything you want about me.
We'd like to apologise for the language you just used.
You're defaming my president, and you are helping to create violence in this country with the way you're covering this.
When I used to interview you, you were an intelligent, reasonable man, and you've gone completely mad, and you sound deranged. You're abusive,
saying that because
and it's really sad to see what's happened to you.
It was really sad to see the way your career imploded in the United States, Piers.
Yeah.
If you think I have any respect for you after this, well, maybe you don't care.
Well, I lost respect for Piers a long time ago. Has anyone that's watching got any respect for Piers left? Let me know.
But everyone in America knows you're a failed journalist.
Really?
So
well, you know what?
This feels like it's turned into a personal argument.
You know what, Rudy?
You two, and I'm not sure
that
our viewers want to watch that.
I had the stomach to stand up and say that your gun culture is completely out of control and unacceptable. And people like you kept telling me, don't be ridiculous. We're entitled to go on shooting each other all day long.
Now you're lying again.
I will stand by what I did.
Quotes from me about your stupid comment.
Okay.
I didn't quote that.
All right.
I was nice enough to keep my mouth shut about you because I liked you.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You've come on here.
You were thrown out of your job.
You've come on here. You've been rude and abusive. You sound unhinged.
I haven't been rude.
You've been using profanity. And you were somebody I used to admire, Rudy.
Tell me
you were somebody I used to admire.
Okay. Rudy Giuliani, thanks very much indeed.
What profanity did I use, liar? What profanity did I use?
Well, I don't think we can repeat it, unfortunately.
No, I didn't use any profanity.
What words
lying.
did you use that we misheard in the studio?
You tell me the profanity I used. Tell me that's exactly what you do to President Trump.
Okay. Rudy Giuliani, thank you very much indeed.
And as you can tell, Rudy gave as good as he got, highlighting that Piers is a known liar, which he is, and was forced out of the USA as they couldn't abide by his Karenism. Now, that's not his words, but that is exactly what it was. He was a moaning, complaining, pretty much exactly like what he is now, only less so. And his ratings tanked because of it in America. Let's read. The ITV GMB host claimed Donald Trump should never have used what turned out to be a racist quote when he tweeted, "When the looting starts." It wasn't racist at all. When the looting starts, the shooting starts, in response to the ongoing protest in the US over the death of George Floyd. It was actually a quote from 30 years ago, as Rudy said, but Trump didn't know this at the time. What he actually meant was, when people start looting, one, the shooting starts from the looters, which we have, as he said, stated there, seen. It has happened. And two, people will start defending themselves. How is that racist? You see where I'm coming with this? Now, this is what Rudy's main problem was. Piers knows this, and in Rudy's opinion, he knows that it wasn't meant as racist, but still he made out it was. Why? Because it fits into the narrative that Piers is pushing about Trump. Does it not? But as he confronted Trump's lawyer, Rudy, on the show, Piers Moron was accused of political propaganda and branded a failed journalist after he fucked up in the US. Mr. Giuliani later denied he had used any profanities on the show. He is an old gentleman though, is he not? And let's be honest, have a look at Piers refuses to apologise for guests' foul language. The only reason he's kicked off about it and actually apologised for it was because it wasn't on his side. You see where I'm coming with this? Piers Moron blasted, "You should be big enough to admit he should never have said it. That's the problem." No, he can say whatever he wants, Piers. You're a journalist. He leads a country. You see the difference? Your voice doesn't matter, even if you think it does. You're so wound up in your support for Trump, you can't see the wood for the trees. And my reply to that would be, you're so wound up about Orange Man bad that you can't see the wood for the trees. You see how this works? Rudy hit back. You misinterpreted him. You're misinterpreting him on purpose. And there you go. That's what I mean by the framing, guys. As Piers defended himself, saying he had merely quoted him for his own tweet, "What are you talking about?" Rudy replied, "The question is, did he know that it came from some racist 30 years ago? Well, he didn't know that." At which point Piers blasted, "I don't care if he knew it or not." Of course he does. That was what the point he was making. He was trying to make out it was something that was designed as though he was actually saying he was going to go out with a gun and shoot people. We all know that that is not the case, don't we? "I don't care if he knew it or not. Why the hell is he using such inflammatory language?" This is coming from the man that has made a career on inflammatory language. Hypocritical is to the extreme with this guy. Prosecutors on Wednesday levelled new criminal charges against 4 Minneapolis policemen implicated in the death of a black man pinned by his neck to the street during an arrest that sparked more than a week of nationwide protests. Protests. We've all seen the footage, haven't we, from America? Does anyone think these are protests anymore? Let me know in the comments if you do. I should have said, let me know if you do or not, because if I just say if you do, I'll have no comments, what will I? The added murder charge filed against one officer already in custody and the arrest of 3 more accused of playing a role in the killing of George Floyd, 46, came as several nights of escalating unrest gave way to mostly peaceful protests. Have you heard this? Absolute rubbish. Peaceful protests don't end up with thousands robbing every shop on the street, do they? And burning them. No, they don't. This is not peaceful. Any peaceful people that are in a crowd protesting and these looters and violence going on around them have been taken over. They are no longer protesting peacefully, in my opinion. But let me know. Thousands of demonstrators massed near the White House lit up their cell phone flashlights and sang along to the 1970s soul tune Lean On Me before resuming a chorus of anti-police chants. In a further display of self-policing seen in Washington and elsewhere this week, a number of protesters urged some of their more provocative cohorts to stop taunting police and leave. Provocative cohorts. What they actually mean by that whole sentence there is rioting looters. Thieves, basically. Several major cities scaled back or lifted curfews imposed for the last few days, but not all was calm. In New York City, Brooklyn borough, police in riot gear charged into a crowd of about 1,000 protesters defying a local curfew, albeit peacefully. Well, they were defying a curfew. It's not peaceful, then, is it? It's breaking a law. It's not peaceful. Near an outdoor plaza, and club demonstrators and journalists as they scurried for cover in a downpour of heavy rain. The confrontation in Brooklyn seems to be the biggest exception to a calmer night, hours after the news charges in Minneapolis. Have you seen what? This is the problem that Rudy was actually highlighting, isn't it? This is the exact problem. They're reframing everything. We've seen what's been going on in America. We've heard the reports. We've seen the footage. There is no way they can hide this anymore. It's going on whether they want to admit it or not, in my opinion. Derek Chauvin, jailed Friday on charges of third-degree murder and manslaughter, was newly charged with second-degree murder. The added charge, defined under Minnesota law, is unintentionally causing another person's death in the commission of a felony offence, can carry a sentence of up to 40 years, 15 years longer than the maximum sentence for third-degree murder. Chauvin, 44, was the white officer seen in widely circulated video footage kneeling on Floyd's neck for nearly 9 minutes as Floyd gasped for air and repeatedly groaned, "Please, I can't breathe." Floyd, whom police suspected of trying to pass a counterfeit bill to pay for cigarettes, criminal then, was pronounced dead at a hospital shortly after the May 25 encounter. 3 fellow officers fired from the Minneapolis Police Department along with Chauvin the next day were charged on Wednesday, each with aiding and abetting both second-degree murder and manslaughter. The 3 men, Thomas Lane J. Alexander Cugh and Tao Thao, have also been taken into custody. Aiding and abetting second-degree murder carries the same maximum punishment as the underlying offence, 40 years in prison. Can I just stop at this point? Now, there is no evidence that this was racial, and yet it's being played in the media and everywhere else as it was 100% racist. How can that be if 2 of the people that were actually 2 of the 4 police officers were not white? You see what I'm saying? It's being whitewashed, that's that part of it. See how they put it right at the very end? Now, I'm not saying it wasn't racist. It may well be that the copper that did it by kneeling on his neck was intending to do it for racial reasons. In regards to the copper actually kneeling on his neck, hard to dispute that fact, is it not? That was brutality, in my opinion, and most of the world were against it originally, straight off the bat. It's not. Nobody deserves that, in my opinion. But the racism side is being pushed by the media to inflame. And then Piers has the cheek to call somebody else, i.e. Trump, for using inflammatory language. I'm a firm believer in innocent until proven guilty, not the other way around. And this is guilty until proven innocent, is it not? Of racism. Obviously he's guilty of brutality and killing the man, so he should face the full power of justice. Floyd's death has become the latest flashpoint for long-simmering rage over police brutality against African Americans, propelling the issue of racial justice to the top of the political agenda 5 months before the US president election on November the 3rd. The spectacle of city streets flooded with angry, though mostly peaceful protesters, punctuated by scenes of arson, looting and clashes with police, have fueled a sense of crisis. The upheavals have flared following weeks of social lockdown due to the lurgy pandemic, which has forced millions of Americans out of work and disproportionately affected minorities, and yet they're out in the thousands. People are locked down and are losing their jobs, and they're allowed to protest for days and days and days. Well, I say protest, loot for days and days with no comeback whatsoever. It's alright for them to be out on lockdown, but you and me and everyone else, you stay in your houses and lose your jobs, okay? Now, what's my opinion on this? It's great to see Piers the Moron Morgan got himself worked up at the wrong man. Rudy won't take shit from anyone, and especially not from a major loser, and rightly calls out his hate-mongering. If anyone is inflammatory, it's this cockwomble, and you could tell even Lefty thought Susanna wanted to walk off. Susie, bit of advice, jump ship before Piers' insanity drowns you two. Piers is a race-baiting hate-monger who has become the same as all other MSM, excluding Sky News Australia and possibly possibly Fox. All the others want and are actively supporting destruction, mayhem and violence. Why? 2 reasons in my opinion. Out and out fear of reprisals, which is a big one, and to get more clicks. They know the industry, i.e. journalism, is dying and have gone more and more extreme to ensure survival. Now, I'd like to know your opinion on this as well, everyone. I mean, we all know the MSM are going to use this to their advantage to try and eke out a little bit longer of survival. I don't think it's going to help them in any way, shape or form. If you side with the left, then eventually they're going to start eating you like they do with everybody else. Journalists are no exception to that, and they are more susceptible to the mob. Just a thought. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit the like, comment, subscribe. Hit the bell icon, share it out, everyone. Please, please, please share it out. YouTube don't like my sort of channel, as you know. And without the shares, I can't get out to new people. So the more people we get out to, the better. Stay safe, everyone, and I'll see you on the next one.